Good morning to all of you. I'm Dr. Ritesh Singhal, and today we'll discuss one of the important topic of supply chain and logistics management, that is transportation networks decision. So this is one of the important topic, and generally question is being asked through this particular technical questions generally asked from this particular topic. So let us start. So transportation network decisions means the design of a transportation network obviously affects the performance of supply chain by establishing the infrastructure within the operational transportation decisions regarding scheduling and routing are made. So generally, we have to decide in advance what kind of network decision we should adopt while transporting some units from place A to place B. So a well-designed transportation network allow a supply chain to achieve desired degree of responsiveness at the lowest possible cost. So a transportation network design is obviously required while designing a transportation network so that one can achieve the best out of the available alternatives. So three basic questions generally being considered while designing a transportation network between two stages of supply chain. First, should transportation be direct or through an intermediate site? Either you are transporting it from direct route or through some intermediate site. Number one. Number two, should the intermediate site stock product only or only serve a cross docking location? So that intermediate site either stocking for the stocking of product or work as a cross docking. Third one is, should each delivery route supply a single destination or multiple destination? So either you are serving for single destination or multiple destinations. There are three basic questions to be asked before designing a transportation network between two particular locations. So the possible networks we'll discuss one by one. The first one is direct shipment network to a single destination. So with the direct shipment network to a single destination, that is very simple and very basic kind of network. That is, there is one source, there is one destination, and the source and the people from taking product from source and leave it to some destination. So this is very basic option. The bar structure the transportation network so that all shipment come directly from each supplier to each buyer location. So with the direct shipment network, the routing of each shipment is specified and the supply chain manager needs to decide only the quantity to ship and mode of transportation to use, obviously. So there is one source, there is one destination. You just need to refresh it how much quantity you are required and what kind of transportation you are using to transport those particular products. So the major advantage of the direct shipping transportation network is the elimination of intermediate warehouse and its simplicity of operations and coordination. It's very simple. There is no intermediate warehouse. There is no middleman in between. There is no coordination required in between because there is one single source and one destination. The shipment decision is completely local, and decision made for one shipment does not influence others. Obviously, all the locations are independent. So that is, there is no cases of influence one to another. The transportation time from supplier to buyer location is short because each shipment goes direct. So obviously there is no delay in between because it is direct. So this kind of structure generally you can see this structure like this. There is one there are simpler supplier, like for example this supplier A. This particular supplier serve all the buyers, whether it is to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this particular supplier serve all the buyers. So there is one single row, one single arrow is being there from A to 1, A to 2, A to 3, A to 4, and A to 6 only. So that is very basic kind of network decision. The second one is direct shipping with milk run. Now there is a term called milk run. Milk run is a route on which a truck either deliver product from a single supplier to multiple retailers or goes from multiple supplier to a single buyer location. So in direct shipping with milk run, a supplier delivered directly to multiple buyer location on a truck, or a truck picks up delivery destined for the same buyer location from many suppliers. So you can see this particular network. I'll see you in the next slides. Uh, Direct shipping provide the benefit of eliminating intermediate warehouses. Whereas milk run lower transportation cost by consolidating shipment to multiple locations on a single truck. Generally, you may have seen in the morning that there is a big truck generally used to roam around the roads, and it just drops some packet to location A, some packet to location B, some packet to location C, like this. So milk run makes sense when the quantity destined for each location is too small to fill a truck, but multiple locations are close enough to each other such that their combined quantity fills the truck. Obviously, you have to optimally utilize the space in the truck. So this is the one of the example of milk run. There is a supplier A. This supplier used to drop some product to location 1, some another quantity at location 2, some another quantity at location 3, and so on. This is for this diagram is from buyer, supplier to buyer, and this diagram is from generally uh, this is from supplier to buyer, and this is from buyer to supplier. So this is kind of direct shipping through milk run. So there is a one big truck, and it is used to drop some product, some required product at different locations. The next one is all shipment via intermediate transportation distribution center with storage. So under this option, product is shipped from supplier to a central distribution center where it is stored until needed by buyer when it is shipped to each buyer location. So storing product at intermediate location is justified if transportation economies require large shipment on the inbound side, or shipment on the outbound size cannot be coordinated. So in this situation, generally a term generally we used to find it like DC. DC is called distribution center in large quantity where it is held in inventory and sent to buyer location. So DC, what DC is used to, there is a middle term in between that is being introduced in this particular type, that is DC. DC used to take all the product from supplier, and it holds the product until buyer required it, like this one. There are different supplier A, B, C. They all used to drop their units at DC and some central location, and each buyer takes all the products from DC only, not the supplier directly. So there is an intermediate side in between called distribution center. So this distribution center is actually hold all these products temporarily for a shorter period of time, and as and when buyer required it, it can take it from DC in coordination with obviously suppliers. So DC is there in between. That is why this particular type is called all shipment via intermediate distribution center with storage. The next one is consolidation. Consolidation, at the name is as the name implies it, there are small shipments, was shipment 1, shipment 2, shipment 3, and shipment 4. They used to arrive at some warehouse, the big warehouse in between, and this particular warehouse used to take products from all the trucks 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they used to sometime process it, sometime used to store for smaller quantity, smaller time, and ultimately they used to combine it to another big lorries, big ships, and transport to some other location. Consolidation means this when you combine the small shipment into the bigger one. As the name is very much clear, when you combine all these small shipments into a bigger truck, into a bigger mode of you can say transportation, like ship, like big lorries, big trucks, because all these shipments may be sent to maybe sent to a common destination, maybe sent to a common location, so that in spite of these four trucks should travel to that particular destination, what they do, they used to keep it on some place, a warehouse, and this warehouse used to cater the needs of all these kind of requirement at the buyer locations. So this is called consolidation. The next one is break bulk. As the name is very much clear, break bulk, there is a big order, big truck, big lorry used to arrive at some warehouse and unload all the products to the warehouse. And from this particular warehouse, a small retailer or distributor used to pick up their required quantity from the warehouse, like 1, 2, 3, and 4. वो सब यहाँ से ले लेते हैं अपना अपना, and they used to ultimately deliver to the customer. So break bulk is like the name is there, like the name is very much clear itself. Break bulk, a big truck having a bigger quantity of product, and it used to break into smaller quantity that is manageable, that is being shipped to different locations of customers as well as their distributors. The next one is consolidate. What now? One question arises between while discussing consolidation and break bulk. That what is the difference between these two? So consolidation means it is a form of warehousing that pulls together shipment from a number of sources in same geographical area and combines them into larger and hence more economical shipping loads. तो एक बड़ा अगर जहाज यहाँ से यूरोप जा रहा है और आपके पास छोटी छोटी छोटे छोटे पैकेट्स हैं, छोटे छोटे कंटेनर्स हैं, मे बी वन कंटेनर फ्रॉम दिल्ली, वन कंटेनर फ्रॉम गुड़गांव, वन कंटेनर फ्रॉम से उत्तराखंड, तो उनको अलग अलग लॉरी अलग अलग शिप ना देकर उसी एक बिग शिप में स्पेस दे देते हैं. दैट इज कॉल्ड कंसोलिडेशन. That is economical, that is required when all the products are required to send to some same geographical area. On the other side, break the bulk means break the bulk warehouse options are similar to consolidation, except that it is the reverse of consolidation, obviously. Consolidation materials are broken into smaller chunks and delivered to individual locations based on customer requirement, and the opposite one is the break bulk, and this helps in managing the economy subscale for end customer, obviously. So both are opposite to each other. Consolidation means combining, and break bulk means again you are dividing into smaller number of manageable pieces. The next one is cross docking. Cross docking is a practice in very popular in logistics of unloading material from an incoming semi truck or railroad car and loading these material directly into outbound trucks. Okay, outbound truck, trailers, or rail cars with little or no storage in between. That is the key point here. With little or no storage in between, there is a big lorry used to arrive at some location. वहीं पर ही छोटे छोटे ट्रक्स आ जाएं और डायरेक्टली वो अपना प्रोडक्ट ट्रांसफर कर दें फ्रॉम बिगर ट्रक टू स्मॉलर ट्रक्स with no storage or maybe very little storage in between. So this may be done to change the type of conveyance, to sort material intended for different destinations, or combine the material from different origin into transportation vehicles with the same or similar destination. So this halt in between while a bigger lorry arrive at some location, and from this location, a smaller number of trucks and vans used to take it and deliver to different location. But the thing is, there is no storage in between, or maybe very little storage in between. बहुत थोड़े टाइम के लिए, बहुत थोड़े उसके लिए आप स्टोरेज वहां रख लेते हो या नहीं भी रखते हो. दैट इज कॉल्ड क्रॉस टॉकिंग. ठीक है. अदरवाइज अगर ये ना हो और आप स्टोरेज रखें, सबके लिए रखें, तो दैट बिकम्स ब्रेक द बल्क. ये बड़ा ट्रक आया, आपने छोटे छोटे में डिवाइड कर दिया. So cross-docking operations were pioneered in US trucking industry in 1930 and have been in continuous use is less than truckloads operation ever since. The US military begins with the cross-docking operations in 1950, and again Walmart is start using this particular term cross-docking in retail sector in 1980s. So that was cross-docking, which is very popular in supply chain management, where there is no or little storage in between. So this is one more slide from cross-docking. The trucking industry materials are sorted. Cross-docking is done by consolidated and stored until moving cargo from one transport vehicle directly to the another with minimal or no warehouse required between. So in retail practice, cross-docking operations may utilize stacking areas where inbound materials are sorted, consolidated, and stored. So this is one more example from cross-docking. This is just the reverse of previous one. This is like cross-docking with exactly no warehouse in between, but this is the cross-docking with a small distribution center in between. That plays a very temporary role of you can say segregating bigger product into the smaller one. So what are the advantage? Streamlining the supply chain, reduce labor cost, reduce inventory. Obviously, there is no inventory in between, or maybe it is very lesser number of inventories required. Product reach to the distributor and consequently to the customer at the faster speed, reducing and eliminate warehouse cost. क्योंकि आप warehouse कम से कम use कर रहे हैं तो obviously you are trying to reduce warehouse cost. It may increase available retail space, less risk of inventory handling. So these are some advantage of cross docking. There are a few disadvantages also, and this may be discussed in a brief also. Now the next one is containerization. Containerization is a system of intermodal freights transport using intermodal containers. You may have seen big standardized containers, maybe nearby airports, nearby ports, water ports, and these standardized containers are being standardized with some agencies like ISO or maybe different agencies as per Supply Chain Council. So the containers have standard dimension. This is one important thing. Containers have standard dimension and they can be loaded and unloaded easily, stacked easily, transported efficiently over a longer distances, and transferred from one mode to another to um, another ship, railroad, flat cars, or semi-trailer truck without being opened. So these kind of containers are very standard in their sizes, so that they can fit into any mode of transport. They can fit into ships, they can fit into rail cars, they can fit into the big trolleys. So they have some standard dimension, so that everyone from Asia to Europe, from Africa to America, everyone can handle it with some specified, you can say, specified modus operandis. So the handling system is completely mechanized, so that all handling is done with the cranes and special forklifts. So since the dimension of all the containers are quite same, therefore we need standardized crane, standardized forklift to manage all or to move all these containers. So everyone required standard cranes, standard size of forklift, standard size of movable uh, like modes of transport. So all containers are numbered and tracked through computerized system. Since the containers are having the same size, uniform size, all these are having number, all these are having GPS locations as well, as so that the buyer and the seller both can track it out where it is. So containers originated in several centuries ago, but was not well developed or widely applied until after World War II. So when it is dramatically reduced the cost of transportation, supported by the post-war boom in international trade, and was a major element in globalization. So containerization did away with the manual sorting of uh, most shipments and need for warehousing. So basically, this particular type of standardization in containerization is there, and reduced congestion in ports, significantly shortened shipping time, and reduced losses from damage and thefts. So this kind of standard size of trucks, standard types of containers are can be handled easily anywhere in the world, anywhere in any port, any airport, any water port, with any machine, or with any kind of containers that usually contain this kind of boxes. So advantage of containerization, like number one, standardization. Everyone is having equal standard, equal size, equal to to pick up these containers and to drop somewhere. So these are having standardization, flexibility. You can move it, you can take it, you can put it any kind of product like coal, wheat, manufacturing, non-manufacturing, or maybe oil, any kind of product you generally use to put it into the uh, containers. Cost, it used to lower transportation cost due to the advantage of standardization. Since it is standardization, everyone knows what kind of container is there, how it can be moved, how much money is required to move it, how much machine is required is to moving the same amount of break the bulk freight in a container is about 20 times less expensive than the conventional means. So after containerization, it is found that it is very time saving, very cost cutting mechanism as compared to the conventional ones. So the container enable an economies of scale at modes and terminals that were not possible through standard break the bulk handling. There are a few more advantages like velocity, obviously speed is higher, warehousing, warehouse को भी standard करना पड़ेगा, standard stacking करने के लिए, safety and security since it is being logged and it is having unique key, it is having unique codes that is only known by the buyer. Site there are some drawbacks also. Drawbacks like site constraint. Some sites are not being standardized to handle these kind of containers. Capital intensiveness, container handling infrastructure and equipments are important capital investment that required readily sources. So somebody obviously has to uh, own the containers, maybe sometime buyer, maybe sometime seller, maybe sometime third parties. So obviously these containers are very big containers and required a capital investment before start using it. There are few drawbacks like stacking. When you put it on one by one, so there may be a kind of risk that it can be dropped it out, can be touched with any bigger objects. Then repositioning, many containers are moved empty, so sometimes there are no big orders, so it has to move with some kind of it has to move with 20% empty spaces. So obviously it is against the economies of scale loss. Theft and losses, all high values goods and loads unit can be forcefully opened or carried away on truck, implied in level of cargo vulnerability between terminals and final destination. So there are in between, there are a number of parties involved, there are a number of people involved. So there may be a chance of thefts and losses of these containers. It is found that in last few years, 1,500 containers were lost in the sea. Maybe it is being drop it into the sea. Maybe it is not being traceable, accessible. So these kind of cases are also there. Illicit trades. These kind of containers sometimes used by some antisocial elements, and they used to transfer some drugs, weapons, sometimes people, sometimes illegal products, illegal medicine that requires to transfer it through containers. So container is also having some drawbacks. So that is what I'm going to discuss today. From my side, it is over. Thank you for your patience listening, and goodbye.